This Game Boy Color could really go for a facelift with a beautiful backlit display. Let me show you exactly how to do it, and I will have this kit and everything you need linked in the description below. The first step is to disassemble your Game Boy Color. If you already know how to do this step, skip ahead to the assembly. There are 6 screws on the outside of the shell, and you need a tri-wing screwdriver for these. Now let's lift the back of the shell off, and there are 3 remaining screws, but this time you need a Phillips head screwdriver to handle those. The only thing left that's holding down the motherboard is the ribbon cable to the screen. So gently lift the 2 bells on either side of the connector up, and that should release the ribbon from the connector. It's always a good measure to give the motherboard a good scrub down with some IPA and cotton swab. The higher the percentage, the better. I'm personally using 99%. You'll want to focus on the button contacts, the speaker, and different nooks and crannies that have been collecting some unwanted grime over the years. Looks good as new. So onward with the upgrade. The backlight kit requires some soldering to power it on, and there are some optional button controls that you can solder in as well. First, I'm tinning the pads and then applying some flux for a super easy process getting the wires soldered into place. And then wiping the flux away. Now I'm repeating the process for the power wire on the other side of the ribbon. To prevent any shorts, I am pasting this sticker on the back of the screen. And securing the ribbon cable to the back of it. Let's peel off the paper over the adhesive so that the screen is ready to set into the shell. I'm making sure that the ribbon and wires are popping out of the back of the shell without getting squished before setting the screen into place. Thankfully, since this display is laminated, there is absolutely no gap for dust and misalignment between the screen and lens. Now that that's taken care of, let's solder the wires to the motherboard itself. I'm starting with the optional start and select buttons. As a good measure, I'm covering the start and select contacts with some Kapton tape to prevent any solder getting on them. And then I'm tinning the test pads, adding flux, and then soldering the appropriate wires from the ribbon cable into place. You all know that I'm all about recycling, so let's take that Kapton tape from the button contacts and use it to tape the wires into place, making sure that they are out of the way from the screw hole and button contacts. Now let's flip that board over to solder in the last wire, which is connecting to point C on the power switch. Perfect, so let's drop all the buttons and membranes into place. And connect the ribbon cable to the Game Boy motherboard. Remember to close the two bells on either side of the connector to lock the ribbon into place. If there are issues getting the screen to turn on, this is usually where the issue would lie. Let's put those 3 Phillips head screws back into the board and then peel the paper off the touch sensor so that we can secure its placement on the top of the shell. Don't forget to drop in the power switch and infrared sensor cover before screwing the rest of the Game Boy back together. The final touch is, of course, the sticker on the back. Now we're ready to drop in some batteries and see how this thing looks. So it appears that these normal AA batteries don't have enough juice to power the higher brightness settings on this upgrade, which actually makes sense, but that's not an issue because I have these high capacity rechargeable AA batteries that will ensure a long-lasting source of power for this upgraded console. Before I show you all the features of this mod, just take a moment to appreciate this breathtaking display. Alright, so to activate the OSD menu, or on-screen display menu, press and hold the start and select buttons, assuming you soldered those in. Click the start button to go up in the settings, and then the select button to go down in the settings. To move over to the next menu item, press and hold start to move right, and then press and hold select to move left. To exit the menu, press and hold start and select. To operate the OSD menu just with the built-in touch sensor, tap the sensor to cycle through the 8 brightness settings. Press and hold the sensor to activate the OSD menu. Once in the menu, press and hold to move to the next setting, and then tap to cycle through the options in each setting.